Thank you for being a Blaze TV subscriber if you are. I don't know if you saw the summit. 10 million people watched the summit. And I really think that we are... I think mainstream media should be a little concerned. And it was all thanks to you. Thank you so much. This is why I started the Blaze, to have a place where people could go, and it would be an alternative to the mainstream media. As I told Tucker, he's like, yeah, you were the first to do this, weren't you? And I said, dude, I had to tell the listeners, okay, there's a lot of buffering going on. And he said, buffering? What's buffering? And I said, yeah, that's how long ago it was. But now, it was a game changer. Did you watch it at all, Pat? I know you were on the air and...
Yeah, saw some of it.
Holy cow.
Yeah, really
that
good.
That was... have you ever seen... Did you see the Asa Hutchinson?
Oh, my gosh. We played some of that this morning. Ooh-wee. Oh. Did he go up in flames or what? I think the Hindenberg was a really, really good analogy for that. That's what it was like. It was bad.
I was watching it and I thought, this is the Hindenberg.
Yeah, it's bad.
Here it is. Cut one.
I mean, this is a permanent change we are making to a child. Why would we allow that if we don't allow surgery?
Well, permanent change is one issue, but also hormonal treatment is a different issue and can be a different issue. And whenever you look at the bill that I vetoed, there was not any grandfather clause in there. Again, I respect legislators that have a different view, but I think independently, I think of the parents, I think of the Constitution, and actually the court, if you read the decision of the federal judge that struck it down as unconstitutional, really sided with parents as well.
But how is it treatment? I guess that's my question. If you have a child who who's born a boy, I want to become a girl, he hasn't gone through puberty yet, he's say 10. Is it treatment to prevent him from going through the natural process of adolescence? How is that treatment? It seems not like treatment. It seems like something else.
Well, you have to... Tucker, I hope that we'll be able to talk about some issues. I know that...
Well, this is one of the biggest issues in the country, and I think every person in this room would agree that it is a central issue, because these are children who are being altered permanently, and you can defend that alteration, that change, if you like, but there's really no debate about whether or not it's permanent.
Let's go to Pat's thoughts. Cut 2, protecting the border. Listen to this.
But why wouldn't you just create a human wall of American military personnel and just kind of fix the problem immediately? We could afford to do that. We don't want to do that for some reason. What am I missing?
Well, a couple points there. First of all, the military is always an option that might be needed at some point. But I want to be able to fix it without having to...
How about when 7 million people come in? Is that the point?
I would like to be able to do it without using the military for a couple of reasons. First of all, we want to show strength with China and making sure we have a military presence in the Philippines. We want to make sure that we show strength in Europe and that we're able to maintain a military that has a global presence. And so the military has a lot of responsibilities. Secondly, the military...
May I ask you to pause? Are those responsibilities more important than protecting our own borders?
I'm going to finish my answer first. The second reason is the military is trained to kill people. And they're not trained in traditional law enforcement responsibilities. So it's a different mission. We utilize the National Guard, but our regular military, I hope we don't have to use in the border, that we can solve the problem without that. Now, go ahead.
Okay, but if I describe to you a nation in which 7 million people had moved without permission, most of them military-age males, and bringing with them, they brought poison that killed over 100,000 citizens of the country into which they were moving every single year, you would say this is an invasion. This is not only a challenge to a sovereignty, this is proof that sovereignty doesn't exist. You don't control your country. It's not really your country. And you would say that's an emergency. In fact, you might even say that's worse than what's happening in Ukraine right now, from an American perspective. And so if that doesn't meet the definition of an emergency with which you'd use the U.S. military to respond, then what does? What's happening in the Philippines? I mean, I'm not mocking you, but what is happening in the Philippines is more important than that?
Well, the Philippines is close to Taiwan, and so that sends a signal, of course, that fact that we have our bases there, that if we have the right personnel, the right equipment there, then we send a signal to China, don't touch the freedom of Taiwan. And I think that's important.
Whoa.
Well,
Let me.
the Philippines is close to Taiwan, but the Mexican border's not close to Texas, I guess, huh? Jeez.
Please,
what a dumb answer.
Please play the cut where I describe it as the Hindenburg. Right out of this, I said this.
It bursts into flames. Get it started. It's rising terrible. Oh my, get out of the way, please. It's bursting into flames, and it's falling on the morning fast, and all the folks between it. This is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. Oh, it's like 400 or 500 feet into the sky, and it's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke and the flames now, and the flame is rising to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. Oh, the humanity.
Is it too soon? It's too soon.
It's not. That's exactly what I said after he made that statement. Oh, the humanity. That happened with Mike Pence as well.
Yeah, Pence was not good.
Which cut do you have, Stu or Pat, for the Mike Pence?
I don't have my sheet in front of me, but
okay.
Do you have it? Do you have it, Stu?
I think I do here
Hang
somewhere.
on. Stu will
Our
find it.
economy has degraded.
Here it is.
The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
What?
Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern.
Wow.
I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble. I think Joe Biden has weakened America at home and abroad. And as president of the United States, we're going to restore law and order in our cities. We're going to secure our border. We're going to get this economy moving again. And we're going to make sure that we have men and women on our courts at every level that will stand for the right to life and defend all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution. Anybody that says that we can't be the leader of the free world and solve our problems at home has a pretty small view of the greatest nation on earth. We can do both. And as President of the United States, we will secure our border, we will support our military, we will revive our economy and stand by our values, and we will also lead the world for freedom.
That was an interesting moment because that was kind of the most viral moment maybe of the entire weekend. And it's hard to tell what he was going for there when he said it was not my concern, because he kind of says right after that he is going. I am going to work on the border. I am going to work on cities. I don't know what he was saying. Maybe it was like, I'm not concerned with what you're saying, or I'm not concerned that we can't do both at the same time. All I know is it was a really bad, political sound bite.
He also was booed.
Yeah,
he was booed on stage. That is something I have not heard, especially in Iowa. The Iowa people are, it's like you take, if you take the people from Salt Lake City in Iowa and they have children, you get someone more polite than Jesus.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the crowd, actually, because I don't know, my impression of these political moments recently has been a lot of booing and jeering and cheering and they weren't like that at all.
Which is great.
And even the moment you're talking about was a groan. Maybe it certainly wasn't the boos that we've seen at other political events. They were there to actually listen to these candidates and hear what they had to say, and that's why. That's why the Hindenburg happened, because they were actually listening to what was said.
Yeah, it wasn't amazing.
It wasn't a political celebration. It was like a real event where they were trying to understand the differences, and it's why you need these things moderated by people that aren't mainstream media candidates or personalities. They don't ask questions that any of us care about.
Right.
They don't delve into issues that any people who are actually considering voting for a Republican care about. And that was the difference between this event and so many others.
And Pence talked about the Abrams tanks, and so did Tucker talk about the tanks that we've already sent over there. We're now it's being reported we've already sent them F-16s that they're being trained on, and that they're just getting to the point now where they can start to use them. And apparently in August or September, they start to roll out the F-16s that we've sent them. That's unbelievable if that's true.
Mike Lee, I'm trying to get him on today. I checked my email this morning, and he had emailed me several times like, we got to talk about the war thing. I think maybe we need to invoke the War Powers Act. He is very concerned that we are just checking the boxes on our way to Third World War. And I think he's right. It was shocking to me how this group of what you would say are traditional Republicans viewed the war in Ukraine. They were not happy about it, didn't want anything to go on, and how they looked at, like, for instance, Nikki Haley. I don't think she did well. Mike Pence didn't do well. Asa did as well as, at least I expected. The one that got I think there were 2 standing ovations, and they came at the end. One was Ron DeSantis, and the other one was Vivek Ramaswamy, who I think is surprising everyone who watches him. He was really good.
I love him. I think I haven't heard a single viewpoint of his that I disagree with yet. He's well-spoken. He's really smart. He's smooth as silk. He's everything you wanted Ted Cruz to be in 2016, but wasn't.
Yes.
So
and did you hear that Trump apparently mentioned him as a potential VP candidate? This is after Glenn predicted on the air the other day that that's what was going to happen, and then Trump actually mentioned him as a candidate. He's performed really well. I mean,
he has.
Really well.
Yeah. So
and Trump hates Ron DeSantis, so that's out. And the other ones are losers. So who would it be? It'd be Vivek.
I think it could be Rick Scott or Tim Scott.
Tim Scott. Tim Scott as well.
Maybe.
Scott as well.
Tim Scott. Yeah.